Today is the easy steps that I do in the floral watercolor artwork. It is artist Artettina here. If you're not familiar with my channel, The Impromptu Life, thank you so much for watching. We have today, I will be going over the easy way I do floral paintings. It seems like a lot of people really love the floral artwork that I do some more of them. So I thought while I'm doing that today, let's do some painting. I get inspired, and this is also the way I can also help prevent artist block. If you like that kind of information, this whole channel is about creative things that I do. I just purchased some land. It will be a little while because I do need to make the money to throw in the septic, but we will be doing a lot of off-grid creative building as well. If you enjoy gardening, things with the plants, I know it's been a while since I've done a plant video, but now we will be doing a lot more once we're on the property and on the land. If you are familiar with me, you know I work in several different mediums. I also paint with coffee. If you are interested in that, the next video I plan on being some coffee painting. I am still working on the sculpture paintings. There are some videos I've loaded of that kind of thing. If you love the whole creative process, and I'm going to be just doing it in a much larger scale now that we have land. Come along for the ride. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. As you know, if you followed any of the art on my channel at all, if you go back through the videos, I know there's quite a few, you will see that I do have videos of this first process right here. So one of my secrets to an easy floral piece is this first process. This is a bleeding technique that create the greens and the magentas and other colors. The other thing for the easy process that I have figured out is this kit. I do when I go to sleep in my car, when I'm traveling, when I was looking at properties, that kind of thing. I live in my car when I do that. And you want to have the smallest system possible, which is a system like this, to actually easily carry watercolor paints. I also have watercolors in tubes, but this I found to be so amazingly helpful. This is an amazing gift. I have several different designs of flowers that I like. I like dogwood flowers, I like petaled flowers, I love clover leaves, and I like chrysanthemum. Pattern of this bleed here. I hope that you already see, like this down here kind of looks like forget-me-nots. This up here actually looks a little bit more like a peony, but part of how I got this, again, that's in former videos. I can also load some more videos in the future of doing this because it's absolutely so fun and amazing to watch. But there is salt effects here. Little crystalline like designs here. This is from dropping salts onto your artwork. The fine little crystal salts pushes the paint away and gives you these nice little spiky effects. It just makes a whole different level. You can see, do you see actually how it made a natural flower right here? So you're looking for things like that. Don't usually use a lot of the ones that are the secondaries because I like my primaries being created on the page. But as some of you may know, some of the principles to some of the floral paintings when I want people to be honed in on the florals is that the cooler colors, your blues and stuff, will be the background, and your lighter floral colors, the yellows and the greens and the reds, are going to be coming towards you in the foreground. So we'll keep that in mind as we're working on this. Otherwise, we're only going to be painting values. We don't even have to remain in this color scheme because art's really about your values and your design. I'm more looking to where I want, what flowers in here I want focused, and the rest of them will fade out into as though they're in the distance or less focused. But you will see what I mean. You're gonna love this technique of painting florals. Not only is it easy, it is so relaxing and fun. And a lot of times in these, I like to throw in dragonflies, a butterfly, a bird. I just love to throw in an animal too sometimes. I think today we're really gonna just work on the floral, okay? So one of the things that you might also find helpful about this pack, as you can see where you can mix the colors in the squares above. The other thing that I like that I also carry around with me right here, it's a smaller thing. You can buy them at art supply stores, and they're just spray, and I will spray that pack to wet it down a little bit, let it absorb a little water, make it a little bit wetter for me, a little bit easier to just kind of pick up and move. So that's something to think about if you want to do a little spray bottle. Other thing that I do that I have is sometimes for extra collapsible or disposable containers, because they're going to be recycled anyway, I will use the bottom of water bottle things. They're just, especially when I'm on the road, that way I don't have to worry about having extra containers that I'm carrying around with me. I will go ahead and pre-wet, and I'll also wet these again. Like I said, that's why I'm so low on the yellows, the reds, and the blues. I do like to use the primary colors. I don't generally like to use the other ones. It looks like my magenta's getting a little yellow. This is a lemon yellow, and it is really sparse, so we might have to open up some of our lemon yellow and add, you know, I should probably just do that now. A relaxing method of painting without all the ideas, then we're just looking for values. You can use images of flowers to show you the value of where you want something, but I'm actually looking in here for the petals and for the values. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab where I want that petal to come out. And again, you don't have to do it quite like that, but I'm kind of grabbing my paint and encouraging it to go a certain direction. And we're just gonna do that in a couple spots, a couple different places. It doesn't matter the color. What I'm looking for is going darker and darker and darker on my values. So I do want like a part of the petal there. There's part of a petal here. Do you see how I can kind of just keep working it? But I do, in my mind and in my imagination, I'm not sure if you can quite see it there coming out. Oh, here's another thing. Here's another thing before I forget, is I usually have something to dabble. Get the extra paint, get the extra water off, or when you do a really good wash, have something like a piece of paper to make sure it's clear, especially when you're more concerned about coloring over value. Because of course, when we're doing this, we're looking at color, but I really am focused more now on value, and depending on what the colors are that I want. I do think I want this up here to look like a little peony. I'm gonna come down here into some other flowers, probably put a leaf in here. May end up down here with some forget-me-not, and then see there's even a flower here. Do you see it? And this is all from the salting and bleeding technique, that I have this pattern here. Now I'm probably, let's pull back here a little bit, going to go and use this design, because if we did have this broken up into a golden ratio, which is a 1/3, oops, sorry, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? Like the shell. Think of a nautilus shell, and I actually do see a beautiful, I could change my plan and go this way, because I don't know if you see it, but do you see this beautiful pattern right here? And everything outside of that is going to be dreamy. Trying to get your eyes to focus in, and you just woke up in the morning, that kind of dreamy, hazy will be the border, and then it will come in focused. This is just for me, this is the way I like to do it. There's just something so beautiful and mystical about that. It's that depth as well. You'll see. These will be more the flowers that are going to be a little bit more in focus, and then back out here. This coloring, and this is the darker blue. This one here, see what I mean by, I'll have to keep wetting it if I can't keep them wet, so I like to spray them with the spray. Kind of skip ahead and show you a few things here. This is the bluer blue, so this one right here, bluer blue, like that's a thing. This one's closer to like a Carillion, if you want to say that, because this one right here, I want to show you really quickly, because I like to make some more private. Like I said, I've got to go and get some more yellow. We get that, watch this, that lemon yellow in with this, and it's going to look like what a leaf's color is when sunshine comes through. Okay, so let's go down and just add a few little, like I kind of like that there might be a flower right there on the focus, but let's put in, just to kind of show here, okay, how you might bring in a little focus to a few leaves. And again, you're kind of work with the design. Like, can you see the flowers coming out? You just want to kind of work with your design a little bit. But again, my focus, I'm going to do the focus flowers in this pattern, because we already have it here. It's very nautilus-like. It's kind of like that one does end up in the 1/3 up here. leaves and this pattern to be following. This way we'll probably even put a little bit of a sunshine coming through a leaf out here. The greens, the reds, the magentas, all these colors, those particular colors will bring that part of the piece, just like the yellow, out closer to you, to your eyes. The blues and the cools will push it back further away. Again, be sure to follow, hit that like button and subscribe, especially if you're into gardening and plants. I will have a lot more coming of that. We're going to be putting in the water system, and we are going to be working on the Artettina, which is a half in the ground greenhouse. There's also something that makes artwork. It's not just the positive spaces. A lot of times when you're doing your flowers, one of the easier things to remember is I'm going to do the negative space. So what I'm actually doing is the background, right? So the flower or the leaf might be in the foreground. But if you think in negative spaces, especially when you're painting flowers, so when you're painting flowers, you're thinking round for petals, you're thinking flow and round like water, right? When you're thinking in the negative space, you want to do triangles and squares, because what you're doing is you're doing around, a back, behind flowers, behind petals. So you can see I'll do more like a bird shape or a triangle here and there, and that will make, again, it pop forward to you. Here's a good example right here. So as you're going around your picture, you're thinking, here's the leaf, there's the petal that I want to be focusing in. Oh, I got a little hair on my brush there. Okay. And again, this is going to be in several layers as far as us deepening the colors, maybe moving things around. But I hope that makes sense. So this might be a little bit more of a square back here. But think jagged edges when you're in the background will kind of help have you stay focused. You see, this is just such an easy, fun way to paint. So if you're in the background, if you're in the negative space or in the background, darn it, these little cat hairs, I got kitties. Okay, square. If you're on a petal, let's pick a petal somewhere. Right here, there might be a little bit of sun coming through that petal. So we're going to do a combination of the lemon yellow and magenta. It's probably too dark, so we're going to lighten it just a little bit with the water here. And I have a petal right here. I don't know if you can see it, but we're going to go the opposite. I'm going to do round. So now, because my petals are going to be round. See? But if I'm in a space, a negative space with the petal, again, I go back to triangle. And if I'm going to do round, I'm going to do round. Okay? And this will help you just kind of pull those shapes out. See how this is one of the petals right here? If we're going to be behind a petal over here, we're going to do more like the squares. I hope you're really enjoying this process and painting this way. It's such a fun way to paint. We're going to pull back out. Again, here's our focus. So our flowers that are going to be in focus will be in this really cool, almost nautical spiral that you could actually just naturally see from the bleeding part of the painting technique, and how I use the salts to get the spiky parts. Spiky parts, like that's a thing. Here's another little flower right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Do you see it? I'll just do little dabbles in the middle of it. And we're just going to keep going, and we'll just keep showing this as it slowly begins to focus here. One of the things that you can also do when you're working on your artwork is when you go out and even in nature or photographs, really start to not just look at the flower. This is why some artists turn images upside down. So now they're not looking at the object, and their brain isn't identifying the object. The brain is identifying the values and the shapes. To get the values, the shapes, and your sizing, your measurements correct, you can mimic that image. Get used to when you go out and you see a flower, you'll see the round of the petal, but you'll see the triangle of the shadow. So you're not only observing this flower out in nature, now you're actually not looking at the flower. Now you're actually looking at the shadows. And so anything, again, that's not the shape, it is going to be the negative space. And you will actually see how those patterns relate to one another. And the more you learn about like the golden ratio, how everything in nature does actually grow out in a spiral, including leaves, aren't as important as your values, which is dark to light. But if you want to cool something down and push it back, or if you want it to come forward a little bit, see, again, all of these parts is I'm working around my subject. So they're going to be more like squares and triangles. And you'll keep coming back, let it dry, come back, let it dry, come. So this right here would be in between two petals, right? So it's going to be more of a triangle shape. I hope I'm making sense, like I'm trying to make it as easy to think about as possible. Once you start training your brain to see things that way, it's going to be a lot easier for you to just make your artwork pop at you. You're excited for our next video. We're going to be doing on the next video because I will be showing you, and it'll be a lot easier because there's only going to be one color. It's the coffee color. So I'll show you the shapes and the values and all that, but mostly just using your values to actually have the piece come out at you. And we will be painting in coffee. So if you're interested and you don't have any art supplies, but you got instant coffee, I will show you my favorite kind. And even if you don't have any art supplies, just go pick up a little brush. You already have water and you can cut the bottom of a plastic container and you're gonna be doing art in no time at all. But I will show you how to do the coffee paintings. Again, I hope you can kind of get the idea and a picture of where we're absolutely going with this. I'll show you the finished piece in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and push some of this back. And again, how I'm pushing some of this background or haziness back is just with that cool blue. Nothing fancy, just pushing it into the background just a little bit. I love working with watercolors. Let me get that out of the light there. Because you can see, you can start with a sharp edge and then pull it with water and have it fade. So we're still working on this one, and I will show you as it keeps going here, little clips. Let's take a little intermission and a snack break because there's nothing like a funny little kitty nose. This is Rocky. He's amazing. I love how big cute his nose looks when he eats like this. Lighting's horrible. Let's go get some better lighting. Here, there we go. Are you going to help me? I'm such a good helper. Wire here. I think I pulled on this thing too hard. Anyway, it should be. Oh, sweet. So this is where we've gotten so far. A little bit more detail and stuff. I did push a little bit more bluing on the blue on the edges to cool down the edges. So I have this really cool design in this one. I hope you're getting some really great inspirational ideas for how you can just sit down and paint. This also helps you to complete a quota. If you have a quota of how many pieces you want to do, like a painting a day, this is just the easy, fast way to do some watercolors. Here's our water again. We're just going to wet these up a little bit. Need to pull out some more lemon yellow. We'll see if we got enough to finish this piece. I particularly like leaning on florals going this direction, only because like you've seen when you do the spotting or the salting, you can get the actual outlines and designs of flowers or floral arrangements. As long as I'm sticking to the values and I'm trying to remember in my head to push with the cooler colors to keep the background back in the back and then just bring those flowers to me. So really this part's going to be a lot more about details on the part I want the eye to kind of swim through. Again, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you want to see a lot more art videos. And I do have other things on the palette, quite literally. of life, the impromptu life. That will be fun, creative videos. I'm very excited to get off the grid and on land where I can create much larger projects. It'll be fun. If you're anything like me, when you start to get like an artist block, this can help prevent that because it's spontaneous creation. Again, I'm just going to continue to come in here with those like triangles, square, more square-like shapes, and push that background back. And just keep layering until you get at the depth in colors or the depth in values. And then you'll start to paint your values and your shapes. And then as long as you get your sizes right, then you can worry about your golden ratio designs. It's just, it makes it a lot more fun when you're figuring out how to pull things out of your mind. Does that make sense? Oh, that makes sense. It makes sense. So now I'm using a redder red because there's my maroon, but this is or not maroon, magenta, but this is the redder red. Like pop out just a little bit more. So I'm going to add some red. And then sometimes when you're also putting in some of the darker colors, like you can put in a line of darker color and then you just use your water or a cleaner brush and draw that color out. Maybe we'll get a chance to actually see what I'm talking about here. Making sure that I'm clear, that you know what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and add a little bit more reds here. And you just drag half of that line because you want a sharp edge, but you want to soften some edges too. Coming out really, really beautiful. I love it. I think I'm almost done with this one. I just think it's beautiful. I went ahead and popped a little bit more green in there. I think I'm finished. I might just darken just, well, I think I'm finished because I like the whole focus. And then I went ahead and put some more greens in here because again, your eyes are going to be attracted to the reds and the greens, and the blue cooling is what's going to make it fade into the background. I don't want to do too much detail on the edge. I just really want the eye to come in like this. I don't even think I'm going to add a butterfly to this one. I love the little glowing effect of this flower here, kind of just as I want the eye to either go like this and end up on the glowing flower, or to start here and just enjoy and be happy moving around the whole piece. So I'm really happy with this one. I'm gonna wait for it to dry to make sure this is as dark as I would like, because it is still a little bit wet. This is just really fun to find all the little petals, do all the little triangle-like square shapes, these little spiky shapes to get in the background, and in between, like even on the flower petals, you can do that in between the flower petals, see the shapes? So you're looking for these specific shapes which will actually draw out and create petals. All about your colors, if you're going to do something colorful, but it's more about your values. You can see my blending of colors. Like they don't even have to be that color. It has to give you the idea that there's flower there. So I did do a little bit of a chrysanthemum design here. I just wanted it to become like rhythm of music, big flower, small flower, big flower, small flower, kind of like a rhythm of music, and then the peak. So I did a little bit of a chrysanthemum design right there. But anyway, it's just it's a feeling too, right? It's the impromptu life. My name is Artettina. Again, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. That I had on here had been on the piece for a little while, so I have a little bit of bleeding. You can always touch that up with like a little gel, white gel pen, masking, or white acrylic paint. If you wanted to, you could always do that. But there she is, and then we'll just sign and fingerprint the back, and that piece will be available because I think it's just absolutely gorgeous.